Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm really sorry this took very long, but I've been quite busy. Today's paper is a requested paper. I know this request has been made a long time ago. I'm so sorry this was late, but I hope it is helpful. Alright, so this is May-June of 2022, paper 1, variant 2. It is an hour 30-minute paper. It has only one paper. There's no attached booklet, case study, I mean. So this should be a shorter paper than paper 2. So let's get through it. This paper has 4 questions and each has a case study. So in total you'll be having 4 case studies. This is part 1 of the video, so I'll be covering 2 questions. Alright, so our first question is, ASG is an established business as it has been operated for a long time. It sells garden products including plants and flowers. AHG uses competitive pricing. The business has 4 managers and 30 other employees. All AHG's managers use delegation. The finance manager is analyzing AHG's statement of financial position as she is interested in its liquidity. An extract is shown in table 1.1. Now, in this case study, you have a couple of keywords that is probably going to be used. You have delegation over here. You have competitive pricing. What else do you have? You also have liquidity. And then here, I think this is an important one. It mentions the number of employees and managers. Okay, let's look at part A of this question. Define current liabilities. Okay, so there's many answers for this, but then in the answer I wrote down here, it is 2 marks. Okay, so it is a short-term debt owned by a business to be repaid in less than 1 year. Again, there's a couple of answers that you can mention. If you were to mention money owned by a business or owed by a business, uh, you will get only 1 mark. Sorry. Okay. You're only gonna get 1 mark. But if you mention the being paid in less than 1 year, you'll get the other mark. You could also say that debts of a business which it expects to pay before the date of the next statement of financial position. That is also fine. Alright? But make sure you have like 2 keywords over there in order for you to get the 2 marks. Alright. Identify 2 examples of non-current assets. So what is non-current assets? It's basically any asset that isn't really in the form of something that you can actually use right away, I would say. It honestly doesn't really have to be non-financial, but it's usually non-financial, but it doesn't have to always be non-financial. It's just something that you can't really use straight up. You have to either sell or do something with it. So, example of non-current assets could be the machinery and land. There's other examples such as fixtures, vehicles, investments, or shares. You see, shares is also money, but it's something that you can't really use right away, so it's a non-current asset. Again, and shares are a form of financial asset, but still it's under the non-current. So when you see non-current, it doesn't always mean non-financial, all right? At the end of the day, all of these are financial, and you can basically sell it to get money, but you can't get it right away. Next, part C, outline 2 possible reasons why liquidity is important to ASG. Okay, so your first reason is to be able to pay day-to-day expenses of the business. This is a simple one. I guess this always comes to mind first. Another reason is to be able to provide for unexpected emergencies. Another obvious reason. For this one, you really don't have to remember anything. You just have to think logically for this question. There is other suitable answers to make sure the business will be able to ensure its survival. That's another reason. To help arrange or apply for finance for established business. It is also one possible reason. Mm, I think yeah, but on any other appropriate answers, there will be marks rewarded. All right. So your examiner will be able to reward any answers that are not in the marking scheme but are suitable to this question. Okay, so moving on to our 6 marks questions. Now this is an easier one than the last part E, so this is part D. So again, not really sure if I mentioned this, but for this question, this is your advantage or whatever thing that is stated here. It could be an advantage, a reason, um, what else? It's usually an advantage, a reason, or a disadvantage, I guess. So this is usually always 1 mark, alright? And then your explanation, here it is 2 marks, okay? Remember that. And same goes for the other one. And this is how you'll get your 6 marks in this question. So make sure you mention like at least 2 keywords over here. And same goes here. But this one, it doesn't really have to. You can make it as short as possible, no worries. But you'll still get a mark if it's correct. Okay, so over here, we are asked to explain 2 advantages to AHG of its managers using delegation. Now you guys know what is delegation. It's passing down to your subordinates a couple of tasks. It is usually referred to as a method of motivation, but it also has some other wide uses in the business. Okay, so your first advantage of using delegation is obviously to reduce the workload of the managers. Okay, explanation for this one is managers would not be able to do all the work alone, so they would have time to do other stuff. Okay, so this part here alone is a mark, and then here is another mark. Okay, the second advantage is motivation to employees. Okay, explanation to that, employees will feel more trusted, thus increasing productivity. This is another point. Okay, so 2 marks. um you are also credited for other appropriate responses. um there's other things, other answers, but they're pretty similar. It just talks about that, how employees feel trusted and how it's motivational, how to increase overall business activity. So in your marketing scheme, this question is not really, I guess it's not really diverse. So it usually just has these 2 answers. But if you're creative enough and you find an appropriate and suitable answer, then you're safe, I guess. All right. So part E. Do you think competitive pricing is the best method for an established business to use? Justify your answer. Again, I want to mention this, that whatever answer you choose, you're not really credited or given any mark. Okay, like you're not given any mark based on your choice. You can choose whatever, as long as you can write about that choice, you'll be able to explain your point of view. But whatever choice you make doesn't really affect your mark, just so you know that, because many students think it will, and they will literally think about this question. Don't think. In the exam, you just write, you just choose the choice that you think that you'll be able to explain better, I guess. You can choose either, but sometimes maybe you're comfortable with a choice other than the other one. So just choose that, just stick with that, okay? So for this one, I chose to agree to use competitive pricing. I think most people would choose this because I guess it's easier. Okay, so yes, I do think it is the best method. Why? This method will not discourage customers from buying, which maintains the customer's loyalty. So if you're already an established business, you already have loyal customers, right? And even if you do competitive pricing, it will not discourage your customers from buying from other businesses because you already have loyal customers. Again, which maintains loyalty. Moreover, this prevents the business losing market share, obviously, which could result in less revenue. Okay, so if a business were to lose in the market share, they will obviously have less revenue, and it will hard to be able to compete later on. So you always have to be on track, and you have to know the market trend regularly. Okay, nevertheless, okay, these two is already like 2 to 3 points over here, so it's like 3 marks. Okay, so here the last one will be 4 marks. Nevertheless, customers will be prepared to pay more. Okay, that is another point. So again, since your customers are not discouraged to buy from you, so if you were to set higher prices, they are prepared to do that because you know they're loyal customers and they would do anything for your products. All right. So in your marketing scheme, this choice is actually has more to talk about, I guess. Yeah. But those who choose that it is not a good method, you will be talking about. Uh, you can in the marketing scheme it is giving cost plus pricing or promotional pricing. These two are good points as well. You can come up with your own, no worries, because other appropriate responses should be credited. Okay. So for here, this I would say it's about 4 marks already. You can actually add one more point to make it 5, which is safer. I like to do that, but for here, I feel like there's no more to talk about. I think I mentioned the most obvious ones. And then here, it's already 2 marks. So this is how you get your 6 marks. But usually, it's safer to have 5 marks over here. And then maybe two more, even though it's two more, but it's safer. But it will be 5 and 1. This is how you'll get. But no, for this one, we have 4 and 2. Okay, so however, basing prices solely on competitors, then costs of business might not be covered, which makes it hard for a business to break even. Okay, so if you were to just depend on your competitors' prices, you could potentially lose money, and which would be hard for the business to cover up its expenses at this point because it lost money. So it will be hard to break even. All right, that is it for question one. Um, Make sure to check your marking scheme for more answers. And again, if your answer is appropriate, it's correct. No worries. Okay, question number 2. RWB manufactures buses. 1,200 people work in its factory. All employees receive off-the-job training. RWB uses financial rewards to motivate its employees. Last year, RWB made a 1.7 million loss. The managing director said that there are many external influences affecting our business, including changes in the level of unemployment and new legal control over business activities which affect the environment. In this case study, you also have a couple of things like here, this one, unemployment and legal control. You have off the job training. You have this one, another keyword. Oh, sorry. Again, I just want to mention something here. I didn't really include the anything about what is it again? AHG. Please do include it. I'm sorry, I didn't. I just kind of made a shortcut over here. But you can see your marking scheme. You can know, like you can mention the flowers. You can mention the production. here with the customer loyalty here, you can also mention that, oh, okay, you have more loyal customers that will buy the plants. Something like that. Just mention anything about the business because that is given marks, okay? But this is just a shortcut for the answer, okay? All right. So, first part of question number 2, we have obviously you have to define off the job training. This is a simple one. It's I mean from the name you can tell what it is, but it is a training that takes place away from the workplace or the workforce, and it's usually conducted by a specialist trainer or someone, you know, a specialist. You can just say specialist. It doesn't really matter. For this question, if you were to say training away from the workplace, you'll get just 1 mark. And there's other ways you can say this, like training that takes place away from workplace using methods such as courses, conferences, online learning, stuff like that. So many ways you can define this one. No worries, but make sure to have 2 parts where it is away from the uh, workplace, and then also another part is where you talk about if it's conducted by someone who's a specialist, or you can mention the courses it's using. All right. So part B, identify 2 reasons other than financial, why people work. Uh, this one is pretty simple. This one you have to check your motivation laws. You have the Maslow, Herzberg, and those 3 theories, motivational theories. So you can know from this one, but the most obvious ones you will gain experience. This is something non-financial someone looks for, and status, basically another one. Other appropriate answers, you have job satisfaction overall, um, opportunity to reach your potential, or challenging yourself. This is another answer, and any other things are credited if they're appropriate. All right. Part C, outline 2 methods of financial rewards RWB might use to motivate its employees. Okay. First, you have bonus pay, but could be difficult as business had made a loss. Okay, so this one could be difficult. You have to mention that. All right. I know it's kind of like weird to mention something like this in this question, but you do because here it says 1.7 million loss. But no, the sorry, bonus payment. It is a non-financial kind of. It is a financial reward that is out of your salary. Okay, okay. This one is related to your salary, a financial reward, but you are paying higher salary for making the buses. Or maybe you can say that um, they can use piece rate, also acceptable, I guess. Basically, employees are paid with how much product they are producing. Other uh, other appropriate answer is profit sharing ownership scheme. Now this one could be financial and non-financial as well. Okay, so for the ownership, sharing profit or share ownership, this one could be non-financial, a method of a reward as well. It could be both. Okay, so you can mention this one if this question were to ask you about non-financial rewards. Okay, moving on to part D, our 6 mark question. Again, another 6 mark question. Okay. Explain 2 ways RWB might be affected by new legal control over business activities to affect the environment. Okay. So you have here, mm, I would say this is pretty obvious because if some legal controls were to be put, And then you see here it is a bus manufacturing business, so and it's a factory, obviously it's creating pollution. So there's two ways, there's many ways, but the two ways here I have is change in production methods. This leads to new machines being bought, which in turn results in higher financial costs if the business so the business thus increasing loss. Okay, so higher financial costs increases cost. Okay, another way is it might need to redesign the products. Okay, again, please do mention the buses here because I didn't. I'm so sorry, but do mention it though, or you can mention RWB. So you can say that. So um, RWB may be able to charge a higher price, allowing the business to reduce variable costs. Okay. Other appropriate answers you have um, may have to buy pollution permits or pay fines, such like that, increasing cash outflow. Another one is they may have to change material components used or switch their suppliers to make the buses, which increases variable costs as well. And most of them, it's either you increase your cost, increase your rent, increases your variable costs. Yeah, so most of the ways that you will choose, it's like that. Okay, so redesigning your products for this one, it is actually kind of advantages to the business for here because you see it will reduce your variable costs. This is actually a kind of an advantage because when you redesign, your new design might actually cost more. Like the new bus that they will have is maybe it is more high quality than the previous one, so they will be able to um, put higher prices for their new products. All right, so that is 6 marks. Okay, the last part for question number 2, part E. So do you think a reduction in the level of unemployment always benefits businesses? Justify your answers. Okay, so this question is very, very tricky. I don't know, because I found it very tricky, and also many people told me that it was very tricky, so even in your marking scheme, it's really hard to understand. Okay, so let us break down this question. Like, what does this question mean? So, a reduction in the level of unemployment means um, basically less unemployment, basically more employment. Okay, does this always benefit the business? This is what they're asking for, and we have to justify why do we think that. Okay, so no, I chose this answer. No, I do not think reducing the level of unemployment will always benefit the business. Why? This is because it is difficult to recruit as it increased costs, making it difficult to increase output. So when recruiting a new employees, you'll obviously need costs for that. Like you will train this person. Um, I don't know. You'll have more costs regarding for his or her salary. So you basically add more to your expenses when you recruit new people, okay? Okay, so moreover, the available workers lack the may lack the required skill. So again, this talks about the training. So when you train these people, you obviously need money, right? Um, which lowers the rate of production process, thus producing lower quality products. Okay, so here this is about 4 marks over here. Okay, so, however, nevertheless, sorry, not yet, because we're starting over here. Okay, nevertheless, higher wages may need to be paid again, increasing overall costs. So, what we talk about here? First, we talked about the costs of recruiting. This is one. And then second, we talked about how they lack skill. Okay. And then you have here. Third, we talked about higher wages. Okay, so in conclusion, all of these result in higher costs, so it's 4 marks. All right. Okay, so however, a reduction in employment may mean more sales, all right, leading to higher potential revenue. Okay, so again, lower levels of employment also can mean more sales. So this one is about 2 marks, all right. I know this is kind of like tricky, but we can also see in the marking scheme. Hold on. Um, if you were to choose yes, like you agree that the reducing the level of unemployment is helpful or always benefits the business, your justification will be because there are fewer people looking for work, it may be difficult to recruit workers. So it's basically just the same thing we talked about here. You just have to switch it, all right, when when choosing your answer. So if I were to choose yes, its benefits, I'm gonna be talking about this over here, and I'm gonna add like 2 to 3 points to this one, and then this here I'll have to summarize this answer here and make it my uh, justification if I were to agree with this point over here. All right, okay, so this is it for the video. Make sure to stay tuned for part 2, and again, sorry for the delay. I really hope this was helpful. Thank you.